Where's now?
Wilson Morales, Black Film, UFC.
How did you come about in directing this movie? Was it through something you were trying to do and Laura came on board? And you explain to me.
I always was a Thurgood Marshall fan. I almost named my son Thurgood,
Okay.
but that would have been a little much. I mean, I didn't want to put that kind of weight on him. So when Paula Wagner, a dear friend and a legendary producer, called and said, I've got this Thurgood Marshall script, I'm like, I'm in. I mean, I should read it.
Okay.
But how am I not taking advantage of this opportunity?
Now, this is your first film back in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Why now? Granted, it's this movie. What took so long?
Well, you know, when I started my career, it was part of this great movement, right? When all of a sudden there was these opportunities for black filmmakers. And whether it's me and Spike and John Sinkerman, we're all doing our thing, we're telling our stories, right? And, you know, get to make House Party. Then Eddie Murphy calls us, okay, man, let's work together. And then we make Boomerang. And we're doing our thing. And then the industry kind of shifted. And they were like, you know what? I hear what you're trying to do. We're not so interested. Why don't you do this instead? And it started to get very frustrating that I couldn't tell the stories that I had a deep personal investment in. So I said, well, you know, I'll do what I want to do. So I was like, oh, I'll do some television, you know, or I'll be an executive. I'll experiment in all these different things that are also passions of mine, all of which made me a better artist. And then it was like, it was really working as a producer on Django Unchained, where Quentin and I, we would talk about movie ideas all the time. And Quentin was like, why don't you just go make those movies? You know, like, you have all these great ideas. Like, we need you to go back to making these movies again. And then separately, Jamie Foxx came to me and said, like a big brother, like, come on, man, what are you doing? So when you have Quentin Tarantino and Jamie Foxx both saying to you, go back to work, maybe it's time to go back to work.
Now, in some areas, Thurgood Marshall passed because of his color and complexion, and you have Chadwick Boseman playing him. How much of a thought process was it putting him in that role?
I don't know if Thurgood passed more than he could pass.
Okay.
I mean, Adam Clayton Powell did have a little period where he was in college and he was like, oh, I'm going to join that frat, you know. But yes, the appearance of Thurgood Marshall was an issue. And when Chadwick and I sat down, Chadwick, we really only talked about two things. He says, I did not want to play another historical character, but I do love the script, and we do want to work together. So he was, okay, so that's one obstacle I've kind of overcome, even though this was the last thing I was looking for. But I don't look like him. And what would the 18-year-old Chadwick Boseman at a screening at Howard have to say about me playing this role, you know? And it was a very real question. So there was a couple of things that went into it. One is, I said, let's look at this story. This story is not his whole life, where skin tone would be more of an issue. And the particulars of this case, it's not really a factor. I don't know that anything would materially change if he looked differently. So I felt that in this particular case, we're okay. The second part is, I knew that as an actor, he would embody the spirit of the character the same way Denzel embodied the spirit of Malcolm X, even though he's brown-skinned to Malcolm X's light-skinned. And I didn't hear anyone complain about Denzel's performance. And in that same way, I've not heard anyone complain about Chadwick's performance in this film. Whatever concerns people have going in, they don't have them when they see the film. Now, Chadwick still wasn't 100% convinced. So we asked the family. And we said, how do you feel about this actor playing your father? And they wrote in a letter that not only would they love to have him take the role, that if their father heard that we weren't hiring the best possible person because of his skin color, that he would be incensed. So we said, well, these are his kids. This is his widow. I'm good. And I think that turned the corner for Chadwick as well.
All right. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
All right. Good.